Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is my friend, Mr. Paul Foulkes. He is a returning guest. He is the founder and circularity educator from Circuthon. How are you, Paul?
Hi, Cory. I am great. It's been a great week. I think a lot of stuff is happening in the world, and it's good stuff,
Yes.
scary stuff coming
Yeah.
out from the IPCC report. But I think people are doing great things, and I think people are beginning to get ready to sort of tackle some challenges. I feel there's been some big announcements this
Yeah.
past week that have kind of made me hopeful.
Good. That's a good thing because you've got really got your finger on the pulse there. And that's why I wanted to have you on again. I know you're in the middle of writing a book and you've got all these commitments and all these things, but really want to learn from you. Can we talk about these changes? Can we talk about what's going on with policy in the UK? Can you speak a little bit to what's happened
For
since you've been
sure.
on? Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, today is a big day in my world, and I
Yeah.
didn't know it was a big day till a couple of hours ago because I've been in a workshop this afternoon with clients. I spent the morning doing calls, getting things ready, and I come home, back to my home office around 5 o'clock. And today is the day that the European Union finally published its greenwashing guidelines that were leaked a couple of months ago, but no one really knew the full detail. And I got back, turned on LinkedIn, and I'm being tagged left and center, like asking, and I'm like, I haven't read anything, guys. I'm going to read it
Give me
this
some time.
evening.
Right.
Yeah. Once I've done my podcast, then I'll get down. There's 80 pages, I think, of guidelines. But basically, this is what this is saying to any business operating in Europe. And this means every business, I mean, all businesses operate, global businesses operate in Europe. If they are not backing up their green claims, they will be punished with big fines. And the initial commentary coming out of different NGOs is terms like carbon neutral, carbon negative, net zero. You have to back them up with figures. You
Prove it.
can't
Yeah.
just make these blanket claims if you don't have the facts. And people would challenge you on this. And this will force businesses across the globe to really push harder. And you cannot say, we will be cut. This is the thing that I haven't read it yet. So I'm just like giving it you live. What
Yeah.
I said, you cannot say we will be carbon neutral by 2030 because you can't prove that. It's not 2030. You could go backwards. And what we've seen for decades is businesses. And in our area of packaging, we see this the whole time saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then
Yeah.
they fail and no one remembers that they said it. But it
Right.
will be illegal, as I understand it, to say, we will be this by 2030 or we will be net zero by 2050. You can't say it. How do you prove it?
Yeah.
You can't. So this is big news. And Europe, the whole kind of sustainable packaging,
Yeah.
sustainability still community is kind of buzzing, going, what does this mean? Who's going to get caught out? And will the biggest kind of what I call scammers, if you're telling lies, you're a scammer.
Yeah.
Will the biggest scammers be dragged in front of the courts and fined millions of dollars? Because that's happened in the States. And
Yes.
now it could happen here in Europe. So exciting. And I'm not looking forward to reading 80 pages, but maybe over
You're
the next few days.
you're a glutton for punishment. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
But your thirst for knowledge in this area is so admirable, and I'm constantly appreciating the information that you're putting out. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're not following Paul on social media, please do. He is one of the best resources for knowledge in the world of sustainability, not just packaging, too. We want to talk about fashion and textiles, and you're a shoe expert. I just love all these things that you talk about
Yeah.
because they're
But
so
great
exciting.
stuff is happening. And let's
Yeah.
go to the States now. Let's talk about what Allbirds did yesterday. So we've been following anyone who follows footwear has been following Allbirds for a long time. They've been helping the whole footwear community worldwide to understand carbon. I've been in meetings where 100 companies sitting there going, wow, Allbirds, explain to us what this is.
Yeah.
And yesterday they played, and what we would say, I don't know if this translates, we'd say they played a real blinder, which means they just came out with the biggest announcement saying, hey, we've got this carbon negative shoe, carbon neutral or carbon negative, can't quite remember, but we've got this shoe. And here's how we calculate it. Here's how we do it. Off we go. We want all of you to do this with us. Now that's leadership.
Yeah.
That is carbon leadership. And
Right.
when I know it's true, is when lots of people much brighter than me going, this is true. And I go, okay, you've got a PhD in that stuff. You probably know this. And I went out to all my circular footwear community saying, guys, can we do better? Let's take them on. Let's use our circularity. Let's use our zero waste approach. And can we beat even Allbirds? And that's a bit of me making a bit of a challenge to all of my contacts in the footwear world to say, come on, these guys have done it. You go one better. But there are some great young people out there, really bright young. Even that, I love this word that somebody, ecopreneurs, they are so driven around saving the planet, about really making life better for all of us oldies. And they're off and they're making these great strides forward. And that for me is what I'm beginning to see every day now. Somebody who's been working on projects maybe 2 or 3 years has gone, hey, we've done this.
Right.
2 weeks time, talking to a guy who you must get on the show.
Okay.
Who is, he does a podcast. They're like what I would call comedy eco people. They are so funny. They would need to go on late at night because they're pretty sweary, but they're doing genuine carbon capture. They're literally capturing carbon. They've got all this technology to capture. So they don't do offsetting. They don't do even insetting. They do genuine carbon capture. And amazing. I was like, yeah, I need to know more. I saw him speaking at a conference, then realized that I knew his podcast, didn't put 2 and 2 together. And yeah, I have a conversation in a couple of weeks' time to speak to him saying, what exactly do you know?
What's his name? Yeah. Do you remember?
I will say Mark Stevenson.
Okay.
The company is called Curate, CUR, then the number 8. So people check him out. And the name of his podcast, I cannot remember.
I think
it's something to do with, Argonauts or something. But yeah, such a real, I felt someone who talks like me, who's as passionate and sweary as I am talking about the environment. And I'm going to find out a lot more. But yeah, meeting people doing great things. I think business has got to really get into a new gear. If business feels they've been in top gear, well, don't get out of the car and get yourself.
They've been going back
a bike and pedal at hyperspeed, because I think we ain't seen nothing yet. I think we're really moving into a place where big business is going to have to really pull out the stops, because
I agree.
I'll tell you the 2 final things that I'm just really excited about.
Yeah.
One, the glass industry, the global glass industry, have all got together. Not just packaging glass, but
all of it.
Window glass, medical glass, mobile phone screen glass, and they're going to decarbonize by 2030. Now, maybe they can't even say that anymore. Maybe they can't say we're going to decarbonize by 2030, but they are.
Until 2030.
They're launching, they're launching the global kind of glass institute on the 6th of June, which will be all about decarbonizing supply chain. So this, again, big announcement. So you've got everybody from like OI in the US through to some of the big sort of British companies like Encirc, Vidrala, all these glass companies coming together with Pilkington, who make window glass, and Saint-Gobain, all these other glass companies. But together they can do it. They can't do it on their own. They all need to be together. So I thought this was great. And then I found out the aluminium industry is doing the same thing. The aluminium industry have got together.
It's amazing.
And they're going to decarbonize by 2030. So it's like, wow. okay, this is great because these are big alliances, lots of big companies getting together. With aluminium, it's not just packaging,
Right.
it's people like Boeing and Airbus and auto companies as well, all
Mm-hmm.
working on menu. So yeah, that's 10, 15 minutes of good news. So
I appreciate that. And my company Aurora is the largest wine bottle manufacturer in Australia. And we make aluminum cans, and we're one of the largest in Australia, and that's wonderful. I know it's impressive when I hear the statistics from our company, how sustainable they are, how sustainable they have been in Australia, and how that's translating to North America and the rest of the world for our production facilities. It's exciting time, but I love what you said about people can't make announcements anymore until it's proven. And when I launched this podcast, I announced it on LinkedIn, tens of thousands of comments and likes and nice jobs and attaboys. I hadn't done anything yet. And I think that's what's been interesting to watch when big businesses have been announcing, we're going to do this by 2050. Great job. And I love the idea, but prove it. And I think that I like this. I hope this goes around the world, these laws, because I think people are kind of fed up with it. I think, what did they say? 90% of people that made claims for 2030 have already said that they're not going to make those numbers. So, how do we hold their feet to the fire and say, listen, get to work? It's time. Now is the time. Go.
yeah, yeah. And you're right. A lot of this is what the European Union said. A lot of these claims are false. 45% of all claims on food packaging are demonstrably false.
Wow.
So what do? I mean, up to now, they've got away with it. They've said we are sustainable this, we are eco-friendly that. They can't say it anymore. It's ended. And I know because I did a seminar last year with from our competitions and market authority who
Mm,
does the greenwashing here in London. And she said she has like there's almost like a Zoom across the world, and all the people who do greenwashing law get together and they talk. And I'm pretty sure she was in contact with Australia, US, Europe, Asia, Latin America. They were all in it together. They're
mm,
all exchanging ideas, talking about how they make this work. This is the thing. What happened in lockdown? We all learned how to use Zoom,
yeah.
and then everyone talked to each other. I mean, you talked about glass bottles. I have a client who designs wine branding. They use a lot of glass bottles, and they have offices in Sydney, in London, and in Emeryville in California. So shout out to denomination, by the way. But we spend a lot of time talking about carbon
Mm,
in glass, and we need to get rid of that carbon. And when we learn about these things, we get excited and we
yes.
want to get rid of thing that's kind of toxic, want to get
Hmm.
rid of carbon, and we want to kind of start this is my I guess one of my big ideas. Why don't we use packaging to improve the planet? Like,
Yeah.
surely we're
Right.
such a huge industry. Why don't we make the planet a better place as a packaging industry? And I see that happening. I'm
I do
reading
too.
websites, doing
You're
research.
nearly $1 trillion industry. Of course. Why
Yeah,
shouldn't we have a positive impact instead of a negative impact? You're exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah. And I think packaging is definitely going to bounce back in terms of kudos, in terms of where we are, because actually the biggest problem is food waste. We've always known that food waste was a massive issue. And people are starting to tackle that now in a better way. Retailers are responsible for far more emissions than packaging companies because they're wasting food.
Right.
They're not buying a carrot because it's a bit ugly. There's a great looking cucumber, but the supermarket says it's too big. Like, give me the big cucumber for goodness sake. I'll have it. We love
Right.
cucumber. Don't stop putting food on the shelf when there's no food because it's too big. I mean, how
Right.
crazy is that? I mean,
It's
it really is. So,
ridiculous. I agree.
you
What do
don't
they
get that
say?
in Italy.
40%? 40% of
Yeah,
food doesn't even get it to the market because it's not
correct.
acceptable, or it spoils,
Yeah.
or
You go
that's
to Italy
so
where the
sad.
food tastes great. And their fruit and veg are all different kinds of sizes in the market, and they taste fantastic. These are some of the real issues. I mean, again, people have always said, let's tackle the real issues,
Right.
like food waste.
Yep.
Packaging will sort itself out. I became convinced of that probably 2 or 3 years ago, that packaging had this momentum. We have lots of PhDs in packaging, lots of really bright people. We will sort ourselves out. Let us packaging people go out and look at other things that we can help with and teach the way. So that's about, when I talk about circularity education, I'm using 35 years of packaging experience to teach other industries.
Right.
And they're shocked. They're like, wow, you guys in packaging, you measure so much, you stuff, and you have like R&D. Yeah. Can you imagine how much money the industry has spent on R&D in the past 30 years, the packaging industry? I mean, billions and billions.
Yeah.
Just to get where we are. And we can turn things around. I mean, I did some research last week looking at how quickly things have been turned around. Certain problems have been identified. Too much water in supply chain. Why have we got everything? Why are we shipping around water, but also
Right.
shampoo when we could
Yeah.
have shampoo bars?
Exactly.
3 years, brands are removing the water from shampoo, from household cleaners. We have concentrates. We are fast. We are. I actually think people moan about, but I actually think in packaging we're pretty fast.
I agree. And my friends at Dip already, they have a solid shampoo and solid conditioner line. That's amazing. And you look at, I got a box from them that I bought myself. They didn't send it to me for free. They don't do that. Bought shampoo bars and conditioner bars, and there was enough in there to replace several cases worth of shampoo and conditioner bottles. And I thought to myself, imagine this on a grand scale, how much we can save from shipping, from water reduction, from all of these things. It's awesome thought.
It is awesome. And it fits under the cupboard. It doesn't
Right.
spill out. This is the
Right.
great thing.
Yes.
I do think we are beginning to tackle some of these issues. And yes, emissions are going up, but then we have to go out with our packaging and saying, look what we did in our industry. Look what
Right.
we've achieved in 5 years. The past 5 years have been phenomenal. Since the spotlight was put on ocean plastics, the
Yes.
whole packaging industry has responded, not just the plastics industry, the whole packaging industry.
I agree.
I think we're doing great things, and we have to go out to other, and certainly that's when I go into fashion businesses and talk about toxics and polymers and false recycling. We have great knowledge in packaging, and that translates immediately into fashion and footwear, and I'm
Yes.
sure into many other industries that I still haven't needed to tackle yet.
Yeah. Well, I've got a list of questions here. Not that I think I really would need it with us, because we can talk till the cows come home. But I think that I would love to have your insights on a couple of these things. What do you think will have the biggest impact on the future of sustainable packaging? What decision, what change being made do you think will have the biggest effect?
Yeah, I think it is the Circular Economy Action Plan from the European Union,
Yep.
because they're asking for two things, really. They're asking for packaging free. How do you get your goods from the field into the consumer's mouth without using packaging? Now, it doesn't really mean packaging free. It means that get it there somehow.
Single use
Like we have to
packaging
tap
free.
that. So there's no single use. It must be some transported some way. And what I love is Bramo have got these amazing machines. They were kind of basic and now they're really cool, where
Mhm.
you take your own container. In Indonesia, you press a button or you get your mobile and you scan a barcode, and suddenly your Nestle breakfast cereal is in your own container, and you
Wonderful.
take it home. And when you get home, your phone went, hey, you just bought 300 grams of cereal. Here's the nutritional value. If you have it with oat milk, it's this. If it's with cow's milk, it's that. This kind of clever stuff that will get people using these machines, the tech behind them.
Yeah.
But I think they want packaging free and they want refill and reuse. So I'm
Yes.
tracking, you will have seen a lot of my posts around reuse and refill.
Mm.
Walmart are getting into refill.
Yeah.
Target are getting into refill. Things are happening. So we are beginning to see what people said, this is impossible,
Yeah.
this is crazy. The legislation comes in and suddenly people are going, oh, we've done it. We've sorted it. You're like, you said it was impossible. Yeah, but then this little thing called legislation came along and we just kind of did it because we didn't want to pay tax. We know that the world revolves around tax creates packaging innovation. So I
Yeah.
think for me, this legislation, it's not happening until 2030. I'm seeing businesses scrambling around now going, I'm not waiting till they've been caught before. They've been caught with punitive taxes. They're like, I want it solved by the end of 2023. Let's just go for it. People piloting, people learning. And that for me is, I think everybody is, there's a fantastic film with John Cleese, Rowan Atkinson, when they're in this kind of race, and everyone does bad things to each other and they're all trying to get to the end. Well, that's kind of like the packaging industry. Everybody's in a race and everyone wants to be there first, but they don't want to get caught out. So people are working a lot harder, asking bigger questions, and using some. I mean, again, I don't understand how blockchain or AI or chat GPS works. I don't need to. I just know that there are people that do and can use them, and they can make this whole system easier for us, and just bear all these things in mind. So that for me will be what will change things.
It seems like the carrots have failed. It's time to break out the stick and the actual cause and effect. If you don't do this, we will charge you this much money. And here's the deal, go. And companies are taking real steps forward, especially like you said, packaging companies. We want to be more sustainable than anybody. And I know my company's invested millions of dollars into it because we are already far ahead, but we want to be even further. We want to be the best in the world.
Have you ever met a packaging designer who didn't want to make the world a better place? No, they don't. It's like, hey, I want to study packaging design and really trash the world. That person does not exist. I've spent, 40 years nearly with packaging designers, and many really good friends are designers of packaging, not just manufacturers of packaging. And they're all incredibly committed people that are like desperate to make the world a better place and very vocal about it. Yeah.
I've had almost over 200 guests now on the podcast, and I don't think I've had a single one that's like, I kind of like my job. They're all passionate. Like, this is what we got to do. Here's the way we solve the world's problems. And it's all about this, and we can do it together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And doing it. I mean, it is awesome, I have to say. And I just love working alongside creative people. Well, because they see things in a different way, and you're talking and they go, this is amazing. And you're like, are you sketching the solution?
They're calculating. So how do we teach consumers about this? How do we tell them what's good for them and what isn't? I was interviewed by Outside Magazine the other day, and they asked me just that. How do we teach people what to do? Love to know your thoughts.
I think you start at school. What I've been seeing over the past couple of months is a lot of school initiatives and people who are not school educators writing books for children about the environment and about sort of packaging, waste, litter, oceans, mountains.
Recycling.
So the kids are learning from a very early age, and there are young people who are writing books. I mean, Greta Thunberg's she's edited a book, which, to be honest, sits on my shelf, and it will get read when I finish writing my own book, but it sits there. But a lot of young people, particularly, I mean, I'm really into bird watching and butterflies. That's like my life outside work is absolutely around butterflies. My shelf above me, the left-hand side is just butterfly books, and then you have donut economics and regenerative cultures, but it's mainly butterflies. The bit that sits above me is butterflies. But young ornithologists and young lepidopterists that love nature are writing books in their teens. And those obviously are written for their peers, for people that age. So I think there's a lot happening there. There are things like Better Schools Initiative and all this kind of stuff going on. And it's coming through.
Yeah.
It's coming through, whereby I'm sure if it doesn't exist and I'm making it up, I'm sure it could exist. There was a survey to say that millennials want to have purpose in their jobs. They
Yeah.
don't want to go into work nine
Right.
to five just to take the paycheck. They want to have a purpose. And millennials are leaving jobs where companies are not offering a purpose or not offering
Right.
something kind of environmental or societal as
Mhm.
part of that job. That will,
They want to see that what they're doing every day has an impact on the world in a positive way. Exactly.
yeah,
I you
absolutely.
you and I talked the other day, I think it was via email or LinkedIn or something, and you were talking about bioplastics and this revolutionary idea that honestly put me back in my seat, and I had to sit there and I had to think about this concept. Can you tell the audience what this is and how it's going to change the whole world of packaging?
Yeah. And this is all down to a great guy who approached me
Yeah.
last September. I was at the Global Fiber Congress,
Hmm.
our fiber, but fiber for textiles. So I say
Okay.
our fiber, I mean, but I think about packaging fiber. But I
Right.
was at the Global Fiber Congress in Austria, and this guy came up to me and he recognized me from LinkedIn. He said, "Hey, you're Paul. I'm Michael."
Yeah.
And he said to me something that was so profound. He said, biologists have 10 years to save the planet because the chemists have been killing it. And I'm having goosebumps again. I just froze.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so profound because, yes, a lot of what we know is dangerous.
Right.
Not just like PFAs, but pesticides, all these things that give us cancer.
Right.
Teflon is obviously a PFA, but all these things around us, this is bad and it is killing us. And I've just been reading a book called Go Toxic Free
Yeah.
by a BBC journalist, Anna Turns. And I was like, you're absolutely right. But what can the biologists do? How are they going to change things? So we chatted over lunch and he said there are biological solutions to everything. And we had them in the 1920s. And we've just lost a century of innovation. And again, I'm getting goosebumps again. I'm just like, why did no one tell me this 30 years ago? Why have I not heard about this
Right.
before? Because we've lost a century
It's like
and
the
we've
electric
got,
car, right? From the 1890s.
yeah.
Yeah, we had it all
Yes,
figured out.
the
It
yeah,
was
that was
dialed in.
charging. Yeah. And I said, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So I said, I love bio-based stuff. I mean, in footwear, my good friend Andy Polk from the Footwear Association in the US, we're going bio-based. I mean, he's a great advocate for the environment. We're looking at going bio-based, and that's where all birds are going and lots of people. But, is biology the solution? So I started to look into biological solutions and then realized that all the people I was mentoring in different parts of business, particularly my great friends, I'm a kind of angel investor in something called BioFluff, which is a plant-based replacement for animal fur, but it's
Oh,
made
wow.
out of weeds. It's made out of plants. It's called BioFluff. And then I thought about Restalk, Ben and Lucas from Restalk. Yeah, we're turning old barley waste and wheat waste into packaging materials and textiles and
Yep.
performance materials. And I thought, yeah, this is all biomass. This is
Incredible.
biology. And then what really, really caught me were a couple of guys, and I'm gonna name drop Brett Cotton, an amazing book. He
Yeah.
came up to me after a conference and said, I've written a book. It's called The Gene Entrepreneur, Brett Cotton. And they were telling me that a lot of what I thought was cool solutions, they said, yeah, but they're still chemical. They're not biological. And they showed me what they were doing. Their company is called ARDA, ARDA, not ARDA, the packaging company. And I was like, oh my goodness. So everything has a biological solution? Yes.
Right.
And then I started learning about enzymes and proteins and companies that can take the air like new light technologies. They
Incredible.
literally take the air and turn it into bioplastics. I don't, honestly, I haven't done the research yet, but they somehow grab air and the next minute it's a compostable bioplastic. I mean, this is just incredible.
And what
Literally
you said to
incredible.
me, what that totally blew my mind, was that bioplastics could be recycled.
Yes.
And that has always been the sticking point for all of this is, wait, it's going to muddy up the recycling stream if we have bioplastics. And how do we mark them so we keep them separate? But now what you're saying is it's recyclable, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. So the main plastic, the one that was first mentioned to me by Marks and Spencer many years ago, they said, why are we not using PEF, bio-based, instead of fossil-based PET? And I said, well, recycling, where's the recycling infrastructure? A month ago, I sat in a conference, the European Biopolymer Summit, and a young Spanish scientist showed us, the whole like assembled group of people, how she'd taken bioluminescence from like algae and she put it into bioplastics so that in the MRF, as the plastics are going under, all the bioplastics light up bright pink. So you know what's bioplastic. Oh my goodness, someone's come up with a solution. And she was doing it for fishing nets. So when you're pulling the fishing nets out of the sea, you know what is dangerous polymer, which needs to be incinerated, and you know what is great biopolymer, which can be recycled. So I'm like, okay, she's using natural biology, the bioluminescence of these little algae, to put it into the fishing net, which is made from bioplastic. Okay, that's all biology, and it's all it's starting to slot into place. I think I've still got another year to go before I can quite get my head around it, but certainly people are betting on bio. And my new slogan is, if it's not bio, it's history. Because I do genuinely think that, I mean, it's hard to believe Europe is defossilizing. We have to be defossilized by 2030. We can't, the Europeans won't wait till 2050. They don't believe that we'll survive. And we've got lots of nice lakes and forests and Lake Como and the Mediterranean Sea. We quite like to keep those, thank you. We don't want forest fires and flooding and all the rest of it. So I think people are very serious, and that focus on defossilization is very much there. And it runs right throughout government, society, scientists, and lots of new bodies setting up, like the European Bioeconomy Bureau, like Fibral, who I met last week, who are going to be focused on bio-based fibers for fashion and textiles. All kinds of stuff happening. Yeah. But it could be that we're at the beginning of a new kind of bio era, not a kind of plastics era. It'd be cool. And if we can use biomimicry, goodness knows what we're going to get. It could be really exciting.
It's very exciting. I agree. And before we finish here, I want to make sure we talk a little bit about your writing a book. And I'd love to tell the audience, because the next time I have you on, I want this book to be in our hands. So what's the book about?
So let me tell you very quickly. So I was approached by Dr. Julia Goldstein, who is an author of many books on materials and recycling. And she said, look, do you want to be the co-author of my next book? And I was like, but like, you're my favorite author. Of course I want to be the co-author of your next book. So we've been working. Yeah, we've been working for a year already on this book. It will be published by the biggest publisher in the world, which is called Informer. They have a special division called Taylor and Francis, who do academic books. Our book is academic, but it's also what we call a trade book. It means that everyone can understand it. And the title is Materials and Sustainability, Routes to Responsible Manufacture. So it's going to be obviously about materials and sustainability, but we're talking about how, in very practical terms, you as a brand, you as a company, you as an engineer, you as a packaging engineer should be looking at things. And we'll be talking about carbon accounting, about recycling, about
Nice.
end of life, genuine end of life. So it's kind of, and we're covering every material.
Yeah.
So we're covering everything from like pulp and paper through to biomaterials, to metals, to electronics, to glass,
Wow.
to
Amazing.
construction materials. It's going to be quite a compendium.
That's so exciting, and congratulations in advance, because I know it's going to be wonderful. I can't wait to read it. How do
Yeah.
people get in touch with you, Paul? What's the best way? LinkedIn? I know you're
So
very
yeah,
popular.
look on LinkedIn for Paul Foulkes Arellano of Circuthon. Have a look at some of the, if you find my profile, you'll see some other sites, all the initiatives that we do in circularity, circular fashion, circular footwear, circular drinks. Links are on my LinkedIn profile. And also, if you're trying to raise money, if you have an amazing packaging idea and it is bio, I have a new company called Bioduct Ventures, and we will help you raise money, get in front of investors, and get your bio innovations onto the market.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, sir. And I can't wait to interview you again. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate your wisdom and your friendship.
Yeah.
Thank you, Landsberg Aurora, for sponsoring this podcast. If you're listening, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and stay tuned for more. Thanks.